Ralf Rangnick explains why he hasn't spoken with Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel about Manchester United job. Newly appointed Manchester United boss Ralf Rangnick says he hasn't reached out to Jurgen Klopp and Thomas Tuchel for advice as they will be busy enough and he's already got experience of living in England. Rangnick has taken over the reins of Old Trafford on an interim basis until the end of the season and spoke to the media for the first time this morning ahead of the side's Premier League clash with Crystal Palace. The 63-year-old, nicknamed the godfather of gegenpressing, stepped down from his role as Lokomotiv Moscow's manager of sports and development and arrives in Manchester with a stellar reputation among Europe's coaching elite. United is undoubtedly Rangnick's biggest job to date, though, with the German previously managing the likes of RB Leipzig, Hoffenheim, Hanover, and Schalke in his homeland. With a coaching CV spanning nearly 4 decades, Rangnick is viewed as a mentor to a host of the most high-profile managers working in football today, including Julian Nagelsmann, Ralf Hasenhüttl, Klopp, and Tuchel. Chelsea manager Tuchel, given his big break in coaching by Rangnick at Ulm, outlined the huge influence his fellow countryman has had on his career just last week. Asked whether he had managed to catch up with Tuchel, Klopp, or Hasenhüttl, Rangnick told MUTV, "I don't need to speak to them about life in England because I lived in England myself some 40 years ago and I've been here on and off, so I get along well in the country." Jurgen Klopp is also a German coach at Liverpool. "We are all busy enough in our own jobs and there is not that much time to speak with other coaches. This has always been the case also in Germany. But, of course, when we see each other and play against each other this will only be in March or April. I'm very much looking forward to seeing those three." To view this video please enable JavaScript and consider upgrading to a web browser that supports HTML5 video. Rangnick was briefly a student at the University of Sussex in the early 1980s and has great memories of his wonderful year in Brighton while turning out for local team Southwick. "I think I've been back to Brighton once, but this at the time was one of the most memories times of my youth," he added. "I lived with a host family called Seymour in Hove, very close to the current stadium, but at the time it was the old Goldstone ground. I played myself for a small club called Southwick not very far from that ground, and I have very good memories of that year. I lived with a family, studied as a guest student at Sussex University, and twice per week I took the fast train from Brighton to Victoria Station, watching football games, going to the theatre. It was a wonderful year that I enjoyed very much." English football clearly left its mark and helped develop Rangnick in the early days of his career both as a player and coach. "Having the background of the culture and the English language, I've always been interested in the football," he went on. "Since that year in the early 1980s I've been infected in a positive way by the way that football is being played, the atmosphere in the stadiums. I very much enjoyed that." Ralf Rangnick reveals talks with Michael Carrick before his Manchester United departure. Ralf Rangnick sends warning to Manchester United over January transfers. Xavi responds to Edinson Cavani's wish to leave Man United for Barcelona in that year. "When I was with Southwick I also had the experience of how much the players would encourage themselves on the pitch, so I became a different kind of player and, later on, a different kind of coach by encouraging players in training sessions and in the game. This is something that's not so usual in Germany, and it helped me a lot to develop myself as a player at the time and as a coach." Xavi hails great Edinson Cavani as Manchester United striker.